It's just a weird day, right? You and I have talked about things like this in the past. If you're in this business long enough, you're going to have days like this where things happen where you just did not expect them to be the case. It is always shocking when someone dies so quickly and so young that we've known over such a long period of time in a very public way. But then the added gut punch when we learned that 13-year-old girls also perished in that helicopter crash. It's just a lot to deal with.
Oh, it's obviously it's a devastating thing, and like just about everyone else who heard the news yesterday, I don't even remember the precise time. It's just that feeling in your stomach, that wave of nausea that comes over to hear such a horrible thing, and then compounded, of course, by the additional loss of life, and especially the young people on board. I was on a shoot yesterday on Long Island, Trey, at the time, and doing long sit-down interviews for a feature for E60, and we completed one of them, and the news came as we were setting up to do the second interview, and I could feel myself like not being able to concentrate. We had to go on with our job. We had to do what we were doing, but it was just, and you're flashing back to other moments like this, where you always remember where you were. That cliche, which is so true, though. And for people of a certain age, like you and me, I think, the Thurman Munson moment, August 2nd, 1979, is something that, of course, comes to mind. It's just devastating. And I didn't know Kobe Bryant well at all. I interacted with him only on a handful of occasions over the last 24 years. But the first thing I really thought about was I was there at the press conference in 1996 at Lower Merion High School when he announced he was not going to college and he was going straight to the NBA. I was the producer there that day for SportsCenter, and Sal Palantonio was the reporter. And that image of him in that suit and with the sunglasses and that remarkable confidence, this aura of self-assuredness, that's what I think I immediately started to think of as I was processing this. Because for me, that was the defining trait. There never seemed to be, and this was mostly for me, as I said, from a distance, because I didn't cover the NBA the way that some others did, and I wasn't on the West Coast, but that just like total lack of self-doubt, which you see in even the greatest athletes in the world sometimes, but not in Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, and I was going to say, you've covered a ton of athletes, including young ones as well. Was that the most confidence or difference you've seen in a player that age and how he carried himself, again, for a guy that lived overseas to coming back to the States before going to the pros?
Oh, my God, the swagger. It was unbelievable, Mike. I mean, it was it was preternatural. You were like, and you could see where it came from. He was his father had played in the NBA, of course, Joe. His uncle, his mother's brother, had been a star at Villanova playing for Massimino. The game was in his DNA. It was in his blood. He was acclaimed by the time he was a senior in 95, 96 at Lower Merion as the best player in the country. The only question was whether he would go to college or go to the NBA. And he'd grown up around the game. When he was, I was reading about Kobe this morning, some of the stuff, you forget over the years, but, when he's in high school, he would work. John Lucas was coaching the 76ers, and Lucas would have him work out against the team. And, he kind of judged guys based on how well they were going up against Kobe, this high school senior from the suburbs. I mean, he was prepared in a way for success, unlike maybe anyone else in the history of the game. So he never had any doubts about what it would be like at that level. He had lived it most of his life.
Talking to Jeremy Schaap with us of Outside the Lines here on Golic and Wingo. And Jeremy, as someone who covers all angles of sports in the way that you and the people at Outside the Lines and the way you encapsulate it, hearing on the Sporting Life all the time, I'm curious because we know the championships, Kobe Bryant as a player, what happened with Kobe Bryant and the sexual assault accusations in Colorado, they're all a part of it. When you look at the legacy of Kobe Bryant now, what comes to mind for you?
Well, certainly that's a major part of it. That was That was something that changed the way people perceived Kobe in an enormous way. It was something that changed the way Phil Jackson wrote in his book 11 Rings, changed the way he perceived Kobe Bryant. He said he was angry at Kobe that year. Phil wrote about his daughter having been sexually assaulted in college. And after the allegations against Kobe, he said it was almost this uncontrollable anger with this guy he'd known since he was, a kid. It cost him endorsements. These are very serious allegations. We don't know what happened in that room. We know that the criminal case was dropped. We know that a civil settlement was reached. We know that neither party really after that could say anything about what happened. Kobe would say it was consensual, but he also said that he came to understand that his accuser did not regard this encounter as consensual. And so that's something, it's always going to be a part of the Kobe Bryant story as well.